to take it apart, undo these 4 ones first, and then undo each one of these, which will take you to the next step, which is to remove the film. Simply undo every one of them nuts, being very careful because this metal is quite soft, but undo every one of them and then undo the 2 pieces and your film will fall out. Elegoo recommends an 80mm square block by 8mm thick, so I knocked that up in Fusion 360. So you get the right tension when it's put together. I was going to edit a lot of this footage out, but I decided to keep most of it in to show a complete beginner who has never done this before, the process from start to finish. Just make sure everything's going to line up. That's moved slightly. Try not to make it slide like I just did. I find it a lot easier piercing small holes in the film and then putting the screws in instead of trying to force them through. When putting the screws in, you need to be going on the opposite side of the frame to each other, like if you was doing a car wheel up. You don't go all the way around like clockwise or anti-clockwise, but instead you go opposite sides to each other and work your way across. That will then give you an even tension on the film, like if you was tightening a drum up. Do it on alternate corners. I was going to edit this bit out or speed it up, but I thought it would be beneficial to leave it in for a newcomer who has never done this before. Because if you know what you are doing, I assume you don't need to watch this video. Extremely careful not to cross thread anything. not going very tight at the moment. We will tighten them up slightly more on the second pass.
You think by now there would be an easier way of doing this, as it is very time consuming and boring. I'm not doing them very tight at the moment, but when I get them all in, I will tighten them up in the back and forth pattern. But this block gives it the perfect tension, as you will see later in the video. If you don't use anything, then the film is going to be way too tight and you risk bursting it when using the printer. By all means, fast forward this bit if it's too boring, but like I said, I left it in for people who have never done this before, so they can see how it is actually done from start to finish.
So careful, you've got to be so careful you don't cross thread this. I can feel a few times where it feels as though it's going to cross thread and I've had to back out. Tighten now opposite sides to each other. And be so careful you don't round these bolts off, because they don't feel the best quality, in all honesty.
Just lightly going around them by ear just to make sure they are reasonably tight, but do not over tighten them. It doesn't matter at this point because I have already done the crisscross pattern, getting them tight.
We can take the block off now because that's not going to make any difference. I gotta be honest, these Allen bolts are terrible quality, very soft metal. I'm hardly tightening these. and I can feel as though the metal is bending. Take your utility knife and trim the end off. Place that back into the vat. Before we do that, we'll give it a quick wipe. And then we do the same as before.
Again, piercing the film just to make life easier by getting the screws back in.
My GoPro 11 just stopped because it overheated yet again. It's been on about, I don't know, 20 minutes. So I've had to go back to an old camera just to finish filming this. Never buy a GoPro. You can already feel the film tightening. We'll do it reasonably tight and then we'll go back around it. Be extremely careful not to cross thread anything. Like I said previously, I can feel things on the point of cross threading and then I back off straight away. Last thing you want to do is cross thread, especially aluminium. It's soft enough as it is.
Tightening in a diagonal fashion so you get an even tension throughout the film.
Going back and forth opposite to each other so you get an even tension on the film. So how we tighten this now, we start off over this side. And this side. And this side. Then over here. Then I would go to this one. And this one. And this one. And before we put the last 4 screws in, we'll do this one. All we have left now are the feet that goes in the corners. Again, opposite side to each other. And a big mistake I see a lot of YouTubers doing when they do this, they then clean that with isopropyl alcohol, which will cloud it over. Do not clean that with isopropyl alcohol, even though some people do. It will cloud it over and you'll be back to square one. Even Elegoo's video shows you using isopropyl alcohol. You don't use isopropyl alcohol on these sheets. It will cloud it over. Lovely tension, perfect. Just go back around everything in case these have come slack slightly like they have. All done. Ready for the next print. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe. A few dog hairs off my dog, but we'll soon clean that out in a second.